really about sniffing out the right target and prioritizing the lane that they occupy. Double swing from Okeanos and company, who has taken up that duelist mantle until Sato makes his way onto the team, and BDog will fall. Cubert Academy make their way onto the site itself, where the deadlock utility does not, in fact, lie, especially thanks to that stealth drone that we did cost down. They'll find a kill along the way, too, but Caillou has been able to spread this thick duel between these two. They faced off against each other so many times, but it's BDog who wins it out this time.
And that kill.
Doesn't really need to do much work, though, now that that toxic orb has reduced Cubert to a crisp. Now, as M80 continue to field out that pressure, and Okeanos continues to repeat. That's another one down. Nismo finally available for the refrag, and he'll extend past the shower to find Wedid too. That's two down now for Cubert. Kai on the swing back. Really tough angles to manage by yourself, which is why you now have some help from beyond the smoke. No Scuba, just waiting for the peek instead, and that's gonna be enough! All three go to him, and the bonus will still go Cubert's way. All or nothing here on Redux's push, and off of one blast paid by Cubert Academy that they refuse to lose this time around. That will find the opening pick on the exit, and in fact does find Redux still a good distance away from this. So Cubert will have to fight this out, and Okeanos is ready to get in front of it. Amazing kill on this Outlaw to open things up, and he'll go for even more, but Knights will shut that down. That being said, M80, they've taken the site, and they have a little bit of time still left before this spike makes it on over, and that's all the time they need. Bon Bao popping off here. Scuba still with the gun diff, and the snake fight, the flush out. We did all of a sudden. It's a 1v1 against a BDog at 1 HP. Spraying through this Viper's pit, gets Scuba down to 27 though, and it's one stray bullet from either side that could dictate this round and how it goes. But Scuba is not the one spamming, it's BDog instead, and BDog's timing is all that matters when it comes to this defense. Shit of the health. That is too far gone. He's got to check every inch of this pit until he walks right into the sight line. It all comes down to who's being watched, and it's Scuba! BDog shuts down the pit and the clutch. He loves to do best on this duelist, and he's got a limited time on it unless Sato never gets a visa. M80 once again full-blown denial on everything except Redux's showstopper, and BDog's extra life off of that ultimate is just going to bolster it even further. He's the one to get in front of it first, of course, but Wedid's coverage is what really matters to keep that man advantage rolling. And gets up. No, he'll just go for the peaks here on top of the blast pack, and now comes the extension. Knights unable to find that opening kill outside of Lamps, and the control of it is already gone. So Cubert, they'll try to undercut from the south side of the site, and they'll get a good amount of work done, and still turn around in the crunch. Okeanos trying to get the drop on him. So now an Armageddon defensively placed in the middle of sight. It catches absolutely nobody, but it does. Nismo now alone on the bench. The drop down from it on top of the Armageddon, and he still wins that opening fight. Redux the off angle, short sight onto Caillou. Even so, it shows that M80 are very capable of the same in practices that Cubert has gone for. Leaving Bon Bao alone in this Viper's pit is a dangerous idea, regardless of how many people are walking into it, or for that matter, too few. Knight's gonna let that ultimate go on top of the pit so that...
Just abandoning the pit, giving up the space, that's the right move, because you see the flooding come through. Okeanos, that could be good at least stepping someone out as the fall comes through.
Silent drop down. We're still going for the fight first. BDog good for the one, and Okeanos can hold down two on top of the grab net on the exit. Deadlock on bind is kind of OP like that. Again, 14 seconds on the push. This time it's through a toxic screen on the hookah, and against an Okeanos that has even better aim and some support. Cubert will once again go for this A push, a lot more aggressive this time, and they know they have to push out BDog. They use the toxic orb for it, and Wedid on the other side of that overextension immediately shuts down Redux, and now Okeanos getting greedy with this dimensional drift on the other channel as well. M80 again, it's a full-blown shutdown on all fronts. Flawless victory here in round 10. Through short, that being said, Redux unchecked in shower. You can find the off angle quick enough if M80 doesn't frag out. Caillou still somehow finds one. We're still opening up this site. Paint shell's just now used on the mid site that Knights can no longer breach past because of it, and Okeanos is attempted to get walled out by Redux instead, but he'll win that fight anyway, and now M80 will just come back on site to circumvent. Another 3v1, another moment in which Scuba is asked by all the remaining players on their knees to clutch up, and he just might. Okeanos caught short. BDog on the prowl with this shorty, and he'll make it work.
Mario.
I'm just really not seeing all the connection that Cubert watchers would be asking for, but when M80 decides to answer prematurely, Scuba will punish. Now Bon Bao, the other Viper, getting in on the action with aggression himself, and that'll work out a whole lot better. T-Dog trying to spray through, and now can't, and gets fielded away by BDog on the ultimate. He's got to run away from that to prevent it, and so it'll still be a 2v3, but T-Dog walks right into Wedid. Back on the pit, so forcing them to step out. The salvos to counteract on the tap first, and so now they'll try to take over the pit. Bao watching the heaven swing that Nismo is attempting to reconnect on. That stun grenade launched just in time, and Wedid just trying to rush onto the spike. Scuba, M80 is ducked back to short. Massive amount of space already gained here in the pistol as Cubert begin their bulldozing. They'll get a lot of damage done, and Knights will finally get his opportunity to pop off. Redux is the duelist, will finalize, and BDog is the only one standing. But with the overhealth, it's still a little bit tough trying to spray down, but the extra smoke just in time. So is the spike defusal.
Do something crazy here.
There's a try swing, and it's not peaked. That's both down. Massive gains for Cubert Academy, and Okeanos TP's on his sight right in Nismo's waiting arms. It's another perfect interception here from Sentinels Academy. Now it's got to be the dry swings. We did good for just the one, and it's an army waiting. Snow, because they were stalled themselves, but the pressure is very much real, and into the clone, Redux is going to fully back out. Knights tries to take the place, but Okeanos has both of those kills down. And an opportunity presents itself. Redux still on site with this sniper, though, and body shots are really all you need. Suppressed now and sprayed to a crisp, but it opens the door for M80 in such a crucial round that Cubert wanted to hold on to. But Scuba's wraparound is massive, and BDog's plant is now ISO'd. Security in the world reset again. Fake TP to try to get some sort of drop, but there's just too much to check. Scenario, that's enough time for the dimensional drift to come through and the spike to get picked up. But Redux will find the kill onto Wedid. Another fake TP that Okeanos can let fly. This is the only swing he gets, and the bullets have already flown. That's his one shot. He misses it, but so does Redux, and we re-up again. Now Okeanos opting for that high ground. No, the drop back down, just trying to keep him guessing, and he does!
Going to be absolutely the case. Here comes the engagement.
Stepping in is Okeanos once more, and he continues to step in. Such action from this man. Continuing to be a bright light for the team, and one of the most explosive personalities so far in Challengers. And now the rest of M80 can pick up the pieces. Never mind, Okeanos is back in the kill feed again. Nismo the only one remaining here from the shower peak, and yeah, not much you can do about T-Dog. And force Scuba to miss position, step back into the pit, and that's all you really need. Now the Annihilation to try and go hunting for him, but Scuba counteracts it quickly, and Caillou doesn't find it. Redux is too quick on it. And now the showstopper to seal the deal against what is still kind of a diff. BDog is able to kill him early, but Redux does find that. And so BDog is going to ultimate and go full-blown aggro on top of that Armageddon that Cubert now launched into Hookah to force Bao to remain in place. BDog is the one ahead, though, and he does not find Nismo. That should be the last cry, but Bao has invaded the pit, and so down goes that. Scuba, too. You have a full-blown two-man push, now silenced by the remainder of Cubert. TP, even if they wanted to. It seems like that's in the cards. That's exactly what they'll do. 60 seconds to go, and a whole open B site, but no more Von Bao. Oh, Knights just TPs right through and grabs the kill. They're going to get more aggressive on top of it, and it'll work out almost entirely to their favor, except, of course, Okeanos, who requires a little bit more.
The deadlock be really useful on this attack thus far. Of course, Okeanos starts this off with one. Dimensional Drift going to be online as now M80 decide to move in.
Scuba so by himself there, and M80 have every excuse to just unload. Redux stuck for far too long, but he'll still find his after Okeanos goes crazy in the middle, and they've got to deal with this raise ASAP if they want a chance at taking over. They can. Still the 3v2 though on the retake.
Where they are, but with those close smokes down, this is the engagement time for M80.
Really wanted to take that high ground after the fact, but he's got to reposition a little quickly here. Knights will finally use that ultimate after getting trumped by BDog, but he gets shut down immediately after again. Now an Armageddon up the front lines of A-side to at least stall this out, so Cubert can go for that interception that they love so dearly. But a barrier mesh placed up the midline makes it so M80 can still enter plant. BDog can be facilitated by the crossfire, but T-Dog just walks in on top of it and he'll get the kill promptly after. He'll grab a second, in fact, on top of it, and just walks right in with the shorty with no bullets left. We did with that shut down, but not against Nismo in the Ditto, and it's a 2v1 that Caillou has to hold on to so desperately. One smoke to defend, but Nismo is able to skirt it, and Cubert will keep two standing to tie us back up. Control that M80 is well aware of, but that just facilitates a crunch if Cubert are fast enough to it, and his snake bite is not perfectly placed, so Cubert can still get this fight going a whole lot better than M80 does, and now the rest of Cubert is here to take the rest of it. Should be curtains from there, but first off shot missed. Beat Annihilation on the entry, but Salvo to slow down, and M80 might have been a little too quick on the trigger. This Viper's doing such an incredible job of completely denying this ultimate, and now Scuba himself is just gonna hold it down close quarters on the Sonic Sensor. Nismo encroaches as well, but BDog is going crazy up here on site. Knights can at least shut that back down, and a showstopper is too late because the rest of Cubert has it covered. Three men stay standing for a 13-11 victory from Sentinels Cubert Academy.
And that is a victory you definitely want to carry forwards, given the fact that this
13 HP, knowing that this is the only controller that M80 has to deal with, they will go hunting for this and then deal with the rest of the fight. That Cubert still hasn't exactly won yet. We did with the trade for one, and they still control the tower. The stealth drone, though, is too much to bear, and Nismo and Redux both get theirs.
very low health here, so Knights should be able to at least get a one tap, but has more than enough defense here as the Knights gets one, forcing bound forwards.
Panic shells from Redux. It doesn't matter. He can land it with the shots from being too strong. But it's only now that Cubert decided to actually walk onto the site. They really want to make sure everything's clean, especially with a stun like that. And Bao and Okeanos do find early collection. Still, though, the army has made it onto site, and M80's rotation a little late, but still, they find the Heaven angle. 2v3 now for Cubert Academy to try to manage, and they will start early. Redux with that gun diff. Screen presence, and BDog already ahead of it. We did nice chokehold to be able to grab the one, and Redux with the trade-off. That he's got to be the one to find the spray. And BDog has a bloody Vandal to his name, too. If he finds that angle first, it is curtains. Gets onto site for free here as Redux knows how limited the space he has is, but BDog is just going to give himself away with these steps on the spike. No point in waiting at this stage. Paint shells on top of it. BDog skates it, but a huge whiff leaves Redux the one moment. Oh, and there's the showstopper available from Redux. A little bit of time on the reset, and meanwhile, Knights is able to go for one. Okeanos, though, able to shut that down. And T-Dog as well. That's the spike ISO'd. And while site is controlled, M80 have every reason to wait until they wander into their sight lines. Caillou. Looks like it'll be a vent push to start.
Oh, that's so smart.
Yeah, that stealth drone is going to do a lot of slowdown, and M80 again backing out. They'll hear this push, but what can you do to stop it? Wedid standing alone on top of it. Massive util dump that Wedid just indoors and grabs two. Now Knights has to try to save the day. And even with util in his hand, Wedid stays alive for far too long. Scuba with the re-up, but Caillou is able to edge out one.
Scuba goes down onto the site. The noise is heard. Two people here and ready to go. Caillou finding that kill. Oh, and they just slowly move up.
Okay. That provides way less power to Okeanos Outlaw, and they're able to just swarm bomb Bao. Tower completely under Cubert's control already, and the Armageddon is preventative, but also way too late. Cubert's already on site, buddy, and BDog can lock down the shots just once before Nismo gets that adopted new angle. It's a Rolling Thunder trying to play for the defense now, but the Armageddon on the cross-section, so you can't re-enter, and Redux can just play keep away. Exactly how Cubert wants to operate on a push like this, where they don't even have to plant the spike yet, but Wedid still, or Caillou is still double checking to make sure there's no flank, and the salvo's gonna force out Wedid before there's the double peek. And so another stinger kill on the side of Cubert Academy. Caillou in the 1v4 that he is forced to try to aggress to try to keep Cubert from getting that snowball going again, but
they were really expecting that Yoru to be the anchor there. Now it should be pretty easy. Cubert Academy, once again, very easily going in to have immediately after shocking that angle, and here's the engagement.
We did good for the one shot, and there's a nice spam from the screen, so Knights is going to actually throw this wall up. I love it to split this board in half, and so BDog's the only one to get the execution on top of it. Tower is re-cleared by Cubert. This operator's still fully functional, and Okeanos' timing is his greatest enemy. Bao taken care of. Now Caillou playing bodyguard, only good for one. Rest of M80 trying to scroll on a sight, and Okeanos, dimensional drift to pick up the rifle to keep this fight as even as possible. But BDog is still alone here, and he's good for his. And that's that's sublime adaptation from Okeanos to make this fight advantageous for. They'll have to just make it work. Okeanos still operator in hand. Immediate stun that Redux can collect upon anymore. He is hungry as can be, but we did the crawl up. Redux is expecting it. Timing. Is it unfair, lady? Which they will use first. And it's a lot of stall work that can be done to collapse into the fight. And as heaven is held, Knights and Nismo are able to clean house.
And the Armageddon come through as the rocket goes wide, not able to find anything except a lot of damage on the Caillou.
Backside continues to be no man's land, but Cubert continue to play on the front lines of it, and they'll manage both those kills on Nismo, and that's all they get. Now Wedid on the flank, and again, Cubert are ready for it. Are they back? Dude, back? Straight up. This is insane game sense coming from these players, and again, so much of it is allowed to be individualistic.
Find those kills. So a great job coming through as this 9-3 half.
Redux getting aggressive off rip here for the defense. Will open up with one, and no one is able to punish a blinding speed from the Rays instead of the Yoru, who now double up in the back seat though, and no one's checking for him except for Knights, but he's gonna be a little too late for it. Nismo outside the corner, and now the fight on top of it goes. Caillou walks into a barrage of Cubert members and can't kill one instantaneously. Never mind, there you go. There's the opener, and now the wrap-up from BDog himself. Good for one as well. Ballsy from M80.
30 seconds left.
Necessarily ballsy from Cubert Academy, but they'll step out and they'll begin to frag. Redux good for the one, and he's still not covered yet. Still not covered as Caillou goes down next. He is still dancing around these screens with just a ghost in hand, and the blast pack, but oh my goodness, BDog. If only Redux was not fully blinded off stage in the fight. That being said, taking down 3 members, make it 4, T-Dog. All of a sudden, this is visible. A right click dealing minimal damage. And nothing left in the util tank. Spike planted as well, and so it comes down to the raw pistol brawl of all.
Must go onto the safe side.
No ramp control thanks to the smokes, and Redux's shot does land, but most of the members of M80, actually no, 2 of them, stand at that full HP. The first one to walk into it is the one who can take the shot, but now we just spam through that smoke as there's 10 seconds to go. There is no more opportunity for M80 to get onto site here, and Cubert wrap up that bonus.
Struggling to get their foot into the door. Every time they walk into the site, it's like they don't have really anything to work off of. And now Redux, very aggressive showstopper, finds BDog and is happy with that. So, in the Vise, because a lot of people think, oh, you know, Vise, that's
Scuba.
the one you want to go. It's just a little bit better.
Huge post by Von Bao, but the rest of the push has to be as strong, and they cannot make it work. Wedid the only one standing outside of that, and now Cubert can compress on the remainder. Wedid to engage with it on that low ground. Looks like Nismo's gonna let this Armageddon go, and a Rolling Thunder proactively to prevent that kind of action on top of it. BDog good for the 2 kills, but now Cubert can jump on top of it, and Wedid can't get nearly as much action done. I don't know how Nismo hits both of those, but he's hungry for more. Gets on top of the spike and just jumps into this pit. Easy shutdowns from the remainder of M80, so Scuba could try and go for the wraparound. It was a desperate play. No, he just sees Knights, now he wants Scuba instead. And on top of the fault line, he's gonna make it happen. Amazing fight taken up. The salvos will zone away, and so Knights will... Von Bao needs to land at least one. The stealth drone is gonna catch him out. No abilities, and Scuba gets ahead of it. Now the full-blown Cubert squad can... They simply must be. There is no more room to wait for it. First drop down to clear the close space. Knights good for the 1 on the opening. Now Caillou good for the 2, and Nismo shut down onto that. It's all down to BDog against the 3 in the back line, and T-Dog has made the wraparound happen. M80 will continue to wander with their 6th in purgatory. Sentinels Cubert Academy are your 3rd team to make North American Challengers playoffs.
And wow, Cubert Academy.